Imagine the single worst, unluckiest day of your entire life. Now imagine somehow surviving it. Now imagine 3 days later, almost the exact same impossible thing happening again. Different city. Same blinding flash. Same guy. This is the true story of Tsutomu Yamaguchi, the only person on Earth officially recognized by the Japanese government as a survivor of both atomic bombs. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. One man. Two of the most destructive weapons ever unleashed. And somehow, against odds that don't even have a number, he walked away from both of them. And then, the part that genuinely breaks my brain, he lived to be 93 years old. So settle in, because you are about to hear the most statistically impossible survival story in human history. Let's rewind to the summer of 1945. Our guy, Tsutomu Yamaguchi, is 29 years old. He's not a soldier, he's not a spy, he is not some action hero. He's an engineer, a ship designer for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. His whole job is drawing tankers. That's it. The man designs big boats for a living. He lives in Nagasaki with his wife and their baby son. And in early August, Mitsubishi sends him on a routine business trip to wrap up some work in another city. That city? Hiroshima. Now here's the thing. August 6th is supposed to be his last day there. His bags are packed. He's ready to go home. He's daydreaming about seeing his wife and his kid. He steps off a tram, realizes he forgot his travel paperwork, and turns back to go grab it. A small, boring, completely forgettable errand. The kind of thing you'd just be mildly annoyed about. And the time is 8:15 in the morning. As Yamaguchi walks through a potato field about 2 miles from the city center, he glances up and notices a bomber high in the sky. Then he sees a small object drifting down beneath a parachute. What happened next, he would spend the rest of his life trying to put into words. A blinding flash of light, like a giant magnesium flare, igniting the entire sky at once. He hit the ground on instinct, and a heartbeat later the blast wave picked him up and threw him across the field. Hiroshima had just become the first city in human history struck by an atomic bomb. When Yamaguchi came to, the world had gone dark in the middle of the morning. His eardrums were ruptured. The left side of his upper body was badly burned. He was dazed, half-blinded, and surrounded by a devastation so total that words genuinely fail. Tens of thousands of people were gone in an instant. And look, this is not a funny part of the story. There isn't one. It's just the staggering, sober reality of what this one man somehow lived through. Somehow he got to his feet. He found his way to an air raid shelter, spent a sleepless night, and made a decision that, on paper, sounds completely insane. He was going to go home. Here is where fate starts doing something almost theatrical. Yamaguchi, burned, bandaged, half-deaf, drags himself to a train station, and incredibly, trains are still running out of the region. He climbs aboard, wrapped head to torso in bandages, and begins the long journey back to his hometown. To safety. To his family. To the one place on Earth where he is finally going to be okay. That hometown, of course, is Nagasaki. He arrives on August 8th. He gets treatment for his burns. And on the morning of August 9th, bandaged, exhausted, but alive, he does the single most Yamaguchi thing imaginable. He goes to work. Because of course he does. He's an engineer, he has a job, and the war is still on. You absolute machine of a man. So picture this. Yamaguchi is standing in his office at Mitsubishi in Nagasaki, in front of his boss, the company director, trying to explain what he witnessed 3 days earlier. One bomb. A single bomb that erased an entire city. And his boss is not buying it. The director is basically telling him he's lost his mind, that no single weapon on Earth could possibly do what Yamaguchi is describing. He's calling him crazy. To his face. And at the exact moment Yamaguchi is insisting it was real, that one bomb really could level a whole city. The sky lit up white again. The same blinding flash. The same impossible light pouring through the office windows. On August 9th, 1945, the second atomic bomb detonated over Nagasaki. And Tsutomu Yamaguchi was once again roughly 2 miles from the center of the blast. I need you to really sit with the cruelty of that timing. He had just survived this. He had crossed an entire region to escape it. He was mid-sentence describing the exact thing. And the exact thing happened again, right on top of him. His fresh bandages were blown loose, but the building's structure and the terrain shielded him just enough. And once more, somehow, impossibly, Tsutomu Yamaguchi was alive. The days that followed were brutal. Yamaguchi, his wife, and their infant son all came down with radiation sickness. The fevers, the hair loss, the illness that almost nobody at the time understood. There were stretches where his survival was genuinely uncertain. But against everything, his little family pulled through together. And here's the thing about Yamaguchi. For most of his life, he didn't walk around announcing what he'd been through. He went back to work. He raised his family. He carried the weight of those 2 mornings quietly for decades, the way so many survivors did. It wasn't until much later that he began to speak publicly. In 2009, 64 years after that summer, the Japanese government officially certified him as a Niju Hibakusha, a double atomic bomb survivor, the only one ever formally recognized. Other people were near both blasts, but Yamaguchi is the one the record books point to, and he used that recognition for something. In his final years, this quiet ship engineer became a vocal voice against nuclear weapons, telling his story to anyone who would listen, including at the United Nations. His message was dead simple. He had seen twice with his own eyes exactly what these weapons do, and no one should ever have to see it again. Tsutomu Yamaguchi died in 2010 at the age of 93. A man who, by every law of probability, should not have survived a single August morning in 1945, instead lived a long, full life and spent it trying to make sure history never repeated the worst thing he ever witnessed. So what do we do with a story like this? Honestly, it's not really a story about luck. Calling a guy lucky feels wrong when you remember everything around him that was lost. It's a story about how staggeringly, almost unbelievably durable a single human being can be, and about what one ordinary engineer chose to do with the impossible second chance he somehow got. He didn't ask to become a symbol of anything. He just forgot his paperwork, got on a train, and went to work. And in doing all of that, he ended up as living proof of two things at once: the worst thing humanity ever built, and the stubborn, quiet resilience of the people who walk straight through fire and decide to spend whatever days they have left warning the rest of us. If you made it all the way here, do yourself a favor and smash that subscribe button and join us at Sticky Storm, where we dig up the most unbelievable true stories that history forgot to tell you straight. New stories drop all the time, the stickmen are always ready, and trust me, the truth is always stranger than fiction. We'll see you in the next one.